This is the Mercedes-AMG G63 and it's probably one of the most irrational cars you can ever buy. Now on paper, the G63 seems like a proper performance car, and honestly speaking, it kinda is. This gigantic 2.6 ton SUV is powered by a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 making 585 horsepower and 850 Newton meters of torque, and the acceleration is pretty much supercar-like. The way this thing climbs up into the triple-digit speeds is just astonishing for something that is shaped pretty much like a box on wheels. Pair that to a slick shifting 9-speed dual-clutch transmission and a 4-wheel drive system, this thing just grips up and goes. Moreover, don't expect this car to be a small, lightweight, low-slung sports car because, well, clearly it isn't. The way it handles can be described as more of like ripping the tarmac apart and making sure it makes way for you. That's exactly how it feels to drive a G63 on these small, twisty country roads. Mercedes-AMG have made quite a lot of efforts in making sure this new G63 handles much better than the previous generation, and they've given this new G63 a brand new set of adaptive suspension, and honestly speaking, for the type of car this is, it does handle pretty flat through the corners. Again, it's no low-slung sports car, but it at least gives you the confidence that previous generation G63s were definitely lacking. As much as I would like to say that this is where I would want to drive the G63, this isn't the G63's natural habitat. But one thing that you can't get enough of is this M177 4-liter twin turbo V8, because pop it into Sports Plus and it makes all of the right noises. Born as a military vehicle, the G-Wagon has been specifically made to tackle Mother Nature. Unlike the Defender, the G-Wagon still is a ladder-on frame chassis with a 4-wheel drive system, with all of the right off-road aids. So this has to be the G63's natural habitat, right? Now in the name G63, G comes first, which means it is a G class and it has to be incredible at off-roading, and surprise, surprise, it is. This thing has everything you would ever want in an off-roader. You have a full off-road cockpit over here in the middle. Press on the off-road cockpit button and you have a gyroscope, you have a compass, you have your active suspension settings, you have your diff lock settings, you have 3 different settings in fact for the diff lock. You also have a low range gearbox, which means that this car can practically scale any sort of mountain that you throw at it. So how about we take it for some off-roading? Once you're done finding your next 10 crore rupee plot in the middle of nowhere, you get out of the G-Class and you find one of the most iconic shapes in the automotive industry. Just like the Porsche 911, the G-Class has more or less remained unchanged in terms of its design over the last almost 50 years. You still get iconic G-Class traits, stuff like these turn indicators, these rounded off headlights, the squared off design with the squared off arches. Go to the back, you have a spare wheel on the back This one is finished in carbon fiber. I'll get to that in just a moment. And tiny taillights at the back. If you look at a 1979 G-Class and this G63 side by side, well, apart from the color, they look pretty much the same. Now, talking about the color, this is a manufacturer car. That means it's basically like Mercedes' way of saying Porsche's PTS or McLaren's MSO. This car has been finished in orange copper magno.
Bro, it's brown.
I don't agree with that, but it looks absolutely stunning in this color. It definitely suits the characteristic of the car. You also get these carbon fiber inlays over here on the outside, carbon fiber mirrors, and hop on the inside. There's again lots and lots of carbon fiber. You also get these AMG wheels, and overall this thing looks absolutely incredible. And unlike other Mercedes-AMG cars at the moment which have resorted to downsizing and engines which are well not handcrafted, the G63 still remains handcrafted. A gigantic 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 called the M177, which has been handcrafted by our boy G63. But this is where the G63 makes the most sense, in the poshest area in your city. Let's be honest, nobody is going to be taking their 4 crore plus Mercedes-AMG G63 off-roading because, well, you'll curb a wheel and that'll cost you lakhs on lakhs of rupees. And I mean, even if Mercedes-AMG have significantly improved the driving dynamics of this new G63, nobody is going to buy a G63 for canyon carving. So the G63 does one job brilliantly, that is to make a statement. And just look at it, the sheer road presence, that massive twin turbo V8 just making all of the right noises while going down the poshest street in your city. That is where the G63 makes up all of that value. And for that particular job, there is nobody like the G63 in the market. And look at this interior. It is absolutely amazing. You have this lovely steering wheel up in front of you. You have your drive mode selector, your suspension button, the traction button, everything which is customizable. These lovely metal paddle shifters, Alcantara on the steering wheel, and the seats. Oh my god, they have literally everything you would ever want. Active bolsters, heated and ventilated seats, massage as well. So you're basically roaming around in your city in pure luxury. And this interior is the manufacturer interior, like I said. So you have carbon fiber everywhere. And honestly speaking, nobody does it like Mercedes-AMG when it comes to drama and occasions. And this car ticks all of the right boxes if you want to make a statement, and that is why you should buy the G63 over any of its other counterparts like the diesel or the electric G that you now get. And honestly speaking, I totally understand the G63 hype. That is why Mercedes-AMG has almost a 2-year-long waiting list for the G63, and it's totally justifiable because nobody does it like the G63. So coming back to the initial statement that the G63 is the most irrational purchase is still true. Why would you want a fire-breathing 585 horsepower twin turbocharged V8 in something that is shaped like a box and on its best day can only give you 5 kmpl? Mercedes now sells a G580, which is the electric version of the G-Class, which does 90% of what the G63 can do without the ridiculous fuel bill. You also get a G400D, which is the perfect G-Class in my opinion, with a torquey diesel which is perfect for off-roading and long trips, while still giving you all of the looks. But that's not what the G63 is about. It is literally the aura of the G63 that sets it apart. And that is why the G63 is worth every single penny Mercedes-AMG charges for it. This has been an eye-opening experience for me. Before, I used to think people who buy G63s are just straight up idiots because you're buying a box on wheels with a gigantic V8. But once you live with it for a couple of days, you immediately understand why people buy it. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel and I'll catch you in the next one.